Hi everybody, I'm gonna work through the birthday bonanza project recipe today. And I'll tell you, this is my second version of this project recipe. I did try to record the first one, but I had some problems with the video recording. So I made the whole layout. I'll show you the one I made originally, but I don't have a full video to show you. I might still post what I have just so you can see how this kind of started out. But I wanted to do a new video where you can see the project from beginning to end. If you need any tools or other supplies for this project, you're welcome to order them from my website or get in touch with me. You can also come in person to shop if you're here local in the Kaysville area. Here is the project recipe instruction sheet. And you can see what the original project recipe example looked like, including the cutting guides. We're going to do something a little bit different today, but come up with something similar. And here is the layout I made using this project recipe originally. I'll post some pictures of this so you can see it better on my Facebook page. So we more or less followed the cutting guide and the layout here. I did add a lot more circles. I put on some stickers as embellishments and used the foam squares to give those some dimension. The main thing I changed was the borders on the side. And the borders that we've got here in this layout and also the one we're going to make today are made in a separate video. I'll link to that so you can see those. Making the borders in this style instead of just the strips style from the project recipe does take a little bit more paper, but you have plenty with this project recipe. And as you can see, there's lots of leftover from the cutting guides, so it's not a big deal to cut an extra strip or two. I also gutted my photo mats when I did this version. I am not going to do that today, so that might be something good for you to see if you're interested in that. And all of these kind of empty frames will get covered by photos when I put my pictures on the page. So that's part of why I had so many extra circles. I just had a lot of extra paper from cutting out those pieces. And I still today have some leftover from the original pieces I used, even though I've now made two sets of the borders, one for this layout and one to use today. And all these extra circles for decoration on this page. The tools we're gonna need today for the project recipe are the 12-inch trimmer. I got out my circle punches and my circle cutter. In the instructions for the project recipe, it actually has you use the custom cutting system. And if you'd like to follow those instructions exactly and get the sizes of circles, it tells you how to do that in the project recipe instructions. So the first thing I'm going to do different today is use a different kind of background. I thought about using a white paper background again, which is what I did in my first layout, my first project recipe from this layout idea. I thought about using the navy blue background, which is what is in the example in the instructions. Both of those are good options, but I decided I wanted to do it a little bit different and kind of reverse, where a lot more of the colors are here in the background paper. So I just chose two sheets from my Birthday Bonanza collection, paper collection. And I decided I'm going to use the more colorful side as my background and kind of reverse what's happening here, where the background is just a plain color in the example, and most of the color comes in through the other decorations. So I'm going to do the opposite today and have a lot of the color be in the background paper, and then kind of tone that down a little bit by using white and navy for some of my photo mats and other decorations. I'll also use these scraps for some of the circles that we're going to lay out across the page. So I'm going to set my scraps off to the side and show you what we're going to do with these borders. So here are the two borders I made. They're basically the same as the ones I made for my previous version of this layout, but I'm gonna do it just a tiny bit different this time. So in my first one, I've got navy blue cardstock as the background and my strips punched out with the confetti border punch, all laid out across my border. And when I originally made this layout, I just let the white background paper be the border because I cut my this navy border down a little bit smaller than 12 inches. So it's 11 3/4 by 2 3/4. And that's the same size of these ones here. But I don't really love this busy background paper showing up as the border around this. So instead I'm gonna cut some strips of white cardstock. Just do those 12 inches long and 3 inches wide. So we're still going to make this layout based on the project recipe today, but I think it's going to turn out looking quite a bit different. Just by changing the way that we're putting together some of the pieces, reversing where some of the colors are versus where some of the more plain versus patterns. So just center that there. And now our border has a nice little border, and that helps break it up a little bit so it doesn't like fight with the strong pattern right behind it. The colors in this collection are so cute and fun, and each paper in the printed designer pack has kind of a tonal side where it's mostly monochromatic with more of a subtle pattern, and then a multicolor side with a brighter pattern that stands out quite a bit more. So I'm going to attach these two borders on the sides to begin with. They're going to go on the outsides of my background papers, just right to the edge. So this one will be on my left. This one will go on the right. I want to make sure I've got my borders facing their opposite directions. Okay, so this is now going to be the base of our backgrounds. Our borders here on the sides are a little bit skinnier than what the project recipe would give you, but not by much. It's pretty close. And now what we need to do is cut out the photo mats. So in the project recipe, we have 3 4x6 or 6x4 photos with mats that are a little bit bigger, 4.5 by 6.5, and one square that's 4x4 or 4.5 by 4.5 for a 4x4 photo. There are also 2 circles, one on each side, and both of those are for 4-inch photos that would get cut into circles on 4.5-inch circle backgrounds. I'm not going to use the cutting guide to do this because I'm not using those specific different colors. I did follow the cutting guide when I cut these ones out, so you can see the variety if you use the different colored pieces and then you spread that across your pages. So you bring in a lot of your colors from your borders into the photo mats in the middle. So we're going to kind of do the opposite thing here, where instead I'm going to mostly bring the navy blue into those spots where we have photos. So we'll cut out one set, or one strip that's 6.5 inches, one strip that is 4.5 inches, and that will use most of our navy blue paper. And from this 4.5, we want one that's 6.5 long, so that's one photo mat, and then another that's 4.5 square. We just have a couple little strips left over. And like I said, I am not going to gut my photo mats today. I don't need to or want to save a lot of extra navy cardstock from the middle of these, except I just cut this one wrong. Because I was talking instead of measuring. So I have one photo mat that's 4 1/4. And let me think about that. Yeah, I don't like that. Okay, since I cut my one wrong and I don't want to recut everything smaller, which is something I could do if you cut your project recipe pieces, especially your photo mats, a little bit smaller. 4 1/4 would still be just fine to mat a 4x6 photo. And we would go 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 instead of 4.5 by 6.5. But I'm gonna set that aside and instead cut a couple of photo mats in white. Since I have the white out already, and why not? So 4.5 wide. And I'm gonna get one that's 6.5 out of this piece, and one that is 4.5. Which also means we've used up pretty much all of our white now, which is fine. We'll need to modify a little bit. A little bit more. I mean, we're already modifying, so why not? Okay, so here are our 4 rectangle photo mats. Got an extra little square now. I believe this square was on this side. So now we've got some white and navy that come in from the border here that cover up a little bit of that strong, very colorful pattern behind. What we don't have is the circles. And I debated about this, whether I wanted to cut out circle backgrounds for photos, circle photo mats in navy or white. I was kind of on the fence about what would look good. You could do all of them if you're a little better with your cutting, or if you have another sheet of navy blue paper you wanted to cut up. You can cut all of your mats in the navy blue, and then it's all just matching, and that's great. I do have enough navy blue I could cut out a couple, but they'll be a little bit smaller. And then I debated also, did I want white instead for my circles? But now that I've cut my white sheet up, I do not have enough for that. What I think I'm gonna do for this particular layout is actually just leave those spots open, where I could put a photo without a mat directly on the paper. And I may do that, depending on what pictures I find to add to this layout later. But for now, I'm just going to attach these rectangle photo mats in the spots where they're going to go, and we'll start making some circles for decorations. I'm going to use the scraps from my border pieces and from the previous version of this project recipe. I'm just lining up my photo mats so they're at the same height, top and bottom, across the pages. It means I left myself with a little bit of extra at the top compared to the bottom. I could have probably been a little more careful about measuring that, so they would have an even space on top, the top and bottom. But I can just do a little bit of extra decoration up there, and it's not going to be a problem. I could also just lift my mats and shift them up a tiny bit too. But I'm good with this. I'm going to leave those circle photo mats off, and I'm going to start cutting some other circles. So instead of using the custom cutting system or even my big cutter right now, because I'm not going to cut those big circles, I'm just going to do all these smaller sizes. So this is the current circle punch with Creative Memories. It is a little bit bigger than the former Creative Memories makers, the shape makers. And these are so hard to find nowadays, but these are great to have. And if you don't have these, the custom cutting system will make circles in pretty much all the same sizes. If you still have those tools from way back in the day, then I think they're still very useful. So here are my scraps to cut out some circles. I'm going to do fewer circles this time and more probably of this size on the pieces that I have. I'm going to primarily focus on the more monochromatic side of my papers because we already have a lot of multicolor. Although I might bring in some of the multicolor, especially for this one, because that's my favorite print in this collection. It's so cute. It's going to be something like this, and I'm just imagining the large circle photo going kind of in those spots right here with the smaller circles kind of coming off from those. So I'm going to attach my circles basically like this, and then I'll come back and do a little bit more embellishing. So there we are with circles attached. We have spots for some round photos or some other photos. It doesn't have to be round. It looks quite a bit different because of the sizes of the circles I've used and the different color, like where the different colors are placed. But I think still a fun and cute layout. Let's grab some stickers. We've got a lot of options. These are kind of the icon stickers and the word stickers from this collection. I'm not going to put a border sticker on here, so I didn't grab that sheet. And on my last one, I used the big birthday cake sticker. And this was the finished version with some cake and words here and some sparklers up here. And just with the layout of my circles on this one, it's going to have a little bit of different orientation, but I think I'll basically put the stickers in the same spots. Maybe on this one we'll do a little cluster of presents down here and something else up here, but I think I like that idea. I'm going to use some of my foam squares. So we've got two little presents right here. We'll get onto a spot where I didn't actually want it. So to prevent this outer part of the sticker from sticking down to the paper where you don't want it, I'm gonna just use some scraps from the back of the sticker or from the sticker sheet. Some of these edges from around the sticker designs. And you could be more careful with this. Use your scissors to cut them off, but I'm just ripping off little pieces of sticker scrap. I like to do it this way because if you're using stickers already with your foam squares, you definitely have the scraps. But I just did some sticker scrap pieces on the back there. I'm gonna put that gently there. I might shift it around a little bit. Here's my other present, the blue one. It's a little bit wider. I'll put two foam squares on it, on the two sides, and then just sticker scrap the middle and trim off the extra with my scissors. Do these little stickers right here. I'm just overlapping my photo mat down here a little bit. And then on this one, I think we'll do the Wrapped with Love tag to go with the stickers. And maybe a little something coming off the top too. How much other stuff is going on this page. So I don't want my cute sticker cluster to get lost. Wrapped with Love tag hanging out here. And we'll do some of these cute bursts with the stars. I liked this dark purple one too. I think that'll draw a little attention here with something a little darker. Let's lift that one up just a teeny bit higher. Include a few little hearts as well. So some Wrapped with Love presents down here on this side. I'm going to put something else up here in this corner. I think we'll do party hat and the little noise maker. Maybe we'll use this surprise word up there. Or I thought maybe the B-Day love would be cute up there too. Party hat, noise maker. Let's see, what direction does this noise maker go? I think I'll leave some of that sticky available to attach over the top of the birthday hat sticker. Just be kind of like that. And then, yeah, I'm going to go with birthday love and just put those here off to the side. These foam squares are pushing it on size. I'll grab some smaller ones for these word strips. They maybe would have fit with the bigger ones, but I didn't want to risk it. And I've got a few more of these little matching pieces that I use down here that I'll repeat up in the top corner. So some different colored little flourishes with the stars and hearts. My blue star there, and then the purple heart, do a green one, and let's see, I guess we don't really have any of this pink up there other than in that word that says love, so that's another good color to repeat. Okay, I think that's my layout, and I'm gonna call that finished. When I add my photos, I might decide I need some additional stickers or embellishments, or maybe I'll find a spot where I need another circle or two. So certainly can add more. We've got a spot for a photo here, a spot for a photo here, and then our photo mats throughout the page. Here's my version from today compared to the original in the project recipe instructions. And then again, here is the one I made the first time. So modifications on all of mine. Sometimes I follow the instructions really closely, sometimes not. Sometimes I feel like I want to do things just a little bit differently. And for this project recipe, I especially like this version of the border and wanted to include that. Other than that, I could have followed the instructions pretty much exactly and had it turn out looking a little more like the original layout, but I think all versions of this one are cute. This is such a good collection, great for birthdays, but really anything that needs some bright, happy, colorful paper and embellishments and things. So here's my information again. If you are in northern Utah, or if you just want to come visit us here, I am about to have a baby in a couple of months. So the September crop where we are doing this project recipe together is going to be my last crop of the year in person in 2023. But I will be back in 2024. The plan is the last weekend of the month, again, starting in January.